This is Abner Doubleday. He's known for two things. The first is being one of a handful of people that are sometimes referred to as the father of baseball. The second is being a war hero. Abner Doubleday is probably best known as the inventor of baseball, though some may argue otherwise. In 1907, a panel of baseball experts headed by A.G. Spalding, yes, he did start the Spalding brand, conducted a highly publicized investigation into how the game began, and concluded that Doubleday had written the rules for baseball in 1839 in Cooperstown, New York. It is rumored that the panel's work was driven more by myth-making and the desire for good publicity for the sport rather than by any actual study of history. Doubleday could not object. He had already passed away when he was chosen as baseball's founding father in 1907, and he was considered a strong candidate because he was known and respected as a war hero. Doubleday himself never claimed to have invented or even played baseball, and never mentioned the sport in any diaries, letters, or papers. He grew up just east of Cooperstown, but his family moved away in 1838, and in 1839, while Doubleday was supposedly inventing baseball, he was a cadet at West Point. It is said that Doubleday never talked about baseball or any other sports that were around at the time, but this picture is said to be him in an old baseball picture as part of the professional team based in Maine. Modern historians say that the rules modern fans and players recognize as the game of baseball were written in 1845 by a committee headed by Alexander Cartwright, but even by then similar games had been played for decades. Abner Doubleday was born in Ballston Spa, New York, on June 26, 1819. His father, Ulysses F. Doubleday, was a veteran of the War of 1812, and later served as a U.S. congressman. Being born into a military family, his family life was very tense, strict, and unpredictable. Unlike other military families, the Doubledays didn't move around a whole lot. They simply went from Ballston Spa, New York to Cooperstown, New York. Doubleday attended school at Auburn and Cooperstown in New York. He studied civil engineering and then worked as a surveyor for railroads before receiving an appointment to the United States Military Academy at West Point. He graduated in 1842, finishing in the middle of his class. In 1859, Doubleday was stationed at Fort Moultrie in Charleston, South Carolina. Then, in December of 1860, Doubleday and Fort Moultrie's commander, Major Robert Anderson, moved their troops to Fort Sumter. After a nearly 4-month standoff, militia forces fired on Fort Sumter. Doubleday, as second in command, is said to have ordered the first shots in defense of the fort. After a 36-hour battle, Doubleday surrendered Fort Sumter. Doubleday would play a significant role in the Battle of Gettysburg in July of 1863. During the first day of fighting, he was forced to take command of the I Corps following the death of General John Reynolds. Choosing to follow through on the battle plan already enacted by Reynolds, Doubleday ordered his men to hold positions near the Chambersburg Pike. His stubborn defenses finally collapsed in late afternoon, and his I Corps then retreated through the town of Gettysburg to the heights at Cemetery Hill. I identified 3 challenges that Doubleday had. 1. He wasn't liked by many of his troops at Fort Sumter due to his support of Lincoln. 2. He had a lack of men and artillery at Fort Sumter. And 3. He was randomly thrown into commanding positions throughout his military career. Fort Sumter was made to hold about 650 troops. At the time of the attack, only Doubleday and 86 others were on the fort. This made it so Doubleday had to quickly figure out how to efficiently use his resources. Due to the lack of men, he decided to only use the outside cannons, 3 men per cannon, as it took at least 1 minute to fire a shot out of each cannon. It is said that the attack on Fort Sumter came as a big surprise, so Doubleday didn't have time to give a theatrical speech like you'd see in the movies. He used his platform to get the most out of his troops. Although Doubleday was forced to surrender, he's considered a hero for his work at Fort Sumter. Not a single one of his men died during the battle, and that is thanks to Doubleday's ability to inspire his troops simply by action.